Hi, my name's Adam, and I teach here as a native speaker. I was born and raised in Virginia. Strangely enough, living here in Belarus, I don't have any Russian roots or any Belarusian ancestors' roots at all. I was born and raised in the US, but I have an appreciation for foreign language and different cultures. And it had always been my dream to study abroad when I was at university in the early 2000s. So in 2010, thanks to some experience with humanitarian aid program that I had to Chernobyl children from the Mogilев region in Belarus, I received the opportunity to come to Belarusian State University for a year and take Russian classes. My first impression of Belarus, this was in 2006 when I spoke very little Russian. It was because I came in the wintertime. It was cold and dark. But the thing that stood out to me was the hospitality from the people. It was cold and dark outside on the street, but when you walk into someone's home, this was the cozy atmosphere, the homey atmosphere was what really made a huge impression on me, of how people really did hospitality well here. And that really touched me very deeply, and it made a huge impression on me, as I said. And it really it sparked my interest in the culture and the history here, and it gave me the drive to continue learning Russian. How would I describe Belarusians? In my English classes, I always tell people not to judge by appearances, what you see on the street. That's the first thing that sort of jumps out at people is sad faces and things, but sad face on the street doesn't mean that people are sad in general, because you have to get to know people. So I have a lot of experience here. I know a lot about the culture. I don't know everything. The interesting thing about my classes is it's also a learning experience for me, because every time I have a particular discussion in a class, I learn something new. I have different students every year from different cultures, different perspectives, different social backgrounds. So our classes are very informative for me too. I enjoy building bridges between American culture and Belarusian culture. The idea of intercultural communication is very near and dear to my heart. And classes at LinguaLand give me a chance to do that, to share about my culture, which I love, but also to learn more about Belarusian culture, to compare. We laugh a lot. We laugh a lot at American culture. We laugh a lot at Belarusian culture, because they're just funny things that when you live in a different country and you experience a different culture, there are things that happen that are funny, that are strange, and it's okay. It doesn't mean one is right or wrong. They're just different. And these are the things we like to talk about to foster mutual understanding across cultures. I would definitely say, in general, I don't really think it's a matter of, I don't think it's a cultural attribute of Belarusians that they're good language learners. I do see a lot of drive among my students to learn English for career growth, in order to travel or to study abroad somewhere. But I've seen a lot of success stories in my classes, and it really depends on the person. It doesn't depend on the culture. It depends on the person. I always say that you need to be deliberate about learning. You need to take specific steps and be very, very driven in your approach to learning a language. That's how I learned Russian. One of the things I always say also is to not be afraid to make mistakes. And sometimes I would say maybe because of the general level of shyness in the culture here, of interacting with native speakers, sometimes that shyness can prevent people from really breaking out of their shell and making huge progress in English. But that's part of my job, is to try to pull people out of their little shell, it's like a little turtle shell, to pull them out of their shell, and to break down those language barriers and talk and not be afraid to make mistakes. I still say silly things in Russian here, and I've been learning Russian for 12 years. Sometimes I make silly mistakes. But in my classes, that's the place to make mistakes. That's what I'm here for. And I really enjoy teaching in a place where we can have this mutual exchange of information across cultures.